You got some good stuff. Let's share some stuff, yeah.
So maybe for a start as well, we would like to
Yes.
know, we and our listeners would like to know you better as well. So we can just give us like a brief introduction of yourself.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I was diagnosed with dementia in 2017 when I was 50 years old, I think. Okay, either 50 or 51. I'm not good, no longer able to do much
Mm,
of my counting. So that means that handling money and things like that is oops, gone. Yeah, so I can only handle $2 to $5, $10 notes. Yeah, so well, for me is that my dementia is slightly different in the sense that normally it's typically Alzheimer. Mine until now is confirmed it's not Alzheimer because we do the lumbar puncture and there is no tiles and tangles. Okay, so there was a misdiagnosis earlier in 2017 that I was diagnosed with young onset Alzheimer. But after the further investigation, it found that oops, it's a
mm,
wrong diagnosis. So then they slowly had to titrate my medication to remove it from my system, and then based on further observations, they found that it's more on the behavior type of dementia because I had more problems with my executive functioning, like planning, multitasking, and following sequence and things like that. So that we call as behavior because it's our behavior, our actions of doing things. So that will force put me into the frontal temporal
mm,
dementia. Yeah. So what we call short is FTD. Yeah, but that is yet to be confirmed, and it has been under provisional for since then, and until now, no, there is no confirmed
mm.
diagnosis yet. So I'm just diagnosed with young onset this
I
dementia.
see.
That's all. But when I was diagnosed in 2017, there was very
Mm,
little, what you call publicity about people with young onset dementia in Singapore. And then, so basically, I get all my support system from UK. And that is how I started my Facebook called Living with Mild Cognitive Impairment and YOD. Because my first diagnosis was mild cognitive impairment and then
YOD
YOD.
is.
Yeah,
Ah,
young onset dementia for short. Yeah. So that is how the my Facebook page started, with the aim of wanting to provide people a better understanding of someone living with dementia, but at a younger age, at a working age, as compared to older people with dementia. What we are having, the issue is also very different from older people. It's also in a way started my whole journey in advocacy, and since then I have moved on to global, and I'm a board member of Alzheimer Disease
oh.
International, which is a international federation of 105 member association, and Dementia Singapore is one of the member. Yeah, and then I'm also a member of Dementia Alliance International. That is an organization by,
Mm,
for, and of people with dementia. Yeah. I was previously a board member of Dementia Alliance
wow.
Wow.
International. Yeah, yeah. So then
Mm-hmm.
I have been involved at regional level also. Yeah, supporting because there is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
countries which is from lower middle income country. The stigma is very bad, and so there, it's very hard for people living with dementia
Mm,
or the
I
family
see.
member to step up. Yeah, so that is where I come in, to reach out to all the local people on how can they form a voice.
Thanks a lot, Emily, for like gracing us with your like very very rich and fulfilling background. Just in response
Yeah.
to our episode as well. So like, cause you have so much background, right? How do you find, pun intended, how do you find your way into this Find Your Way initiative? Like, how do you get involved in this?
Oh, I see. Find your way.
Yeah.
project by the SBS Transit together with Dementia Singapore,
Oh,
sort of reach out to me for
I
because
see.
of my involvement in environmental design. The SBS Transit
Mm.
actually was very inspired by our work. I know
Mm-hmm.
when I say our work is the Kebun Baru. Kebun Baru constituency, the estate, the MP Henry Quek actually visited us when we were at Voices for Hope, and he said that he want his
Ah,
neighborhood
okay,
to
okay.
be dementia inclusive. So that is how it
Mm.
started. And then if you go down
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
Kebun Baru, you will find the kue lapis and these things there. Yeah. So that is our way of helping the older people, those whether have formal diagnosis or no formal diagnosis, but having a cognitive
Mm.
issue, to able to find their block. Yeah. So then SBS Transit found this initiative of navigation
Ah, I see, I
could be
see.
used for their
Mm.
public transport. So then they reach out to Dementia Singapore, and Dementia Singapore reach out to me and my the other friend Anjang, yeah, to work
Ah, I see, I
together
see.
on this
Ah,
Find Your
very
Yeah,
Way.
yeah, yeah.
interesting.
When SPS approach us, they are already very clear that they want to have this navigation and following the
Mm.
similar patterns with the one
Mm.
in Kebun Baru. That means using the color and using the picture. But the only thing is that
Yeah,
it is easier to work on the estate because the block is there already. Whereas in
yeah.
interchange is
Mm.
different. It's an open space,
Mm.
and so where are you going to put
Mm.
all this? So that people with dementia can able to see straight away and no need to look for it, and it has to be obvious enough
Mm.
also with all the so many people with the heavy traffic
Mm.
and things like that.
When you say work together, like can
Yeah.
you like talk us through the process of how you work together with SBS as well?
Okay, now when we by working
Mm-hmm.
together, we are using a participatory approach. That means that a person with dementia are regarded as the lived experience expert. So we are the consultant to the whole thing. So we co-design it and co-produce it from starting inception of the idea to going down to do the recess wrecking of the place, and then to working with the artist to come up with the picture, and then the color selection, positioning, where to place, and things like that. Yeah. So and then the SBS staff will be there also to tell us which position we
Mm.
are allowed to use, because there are no, because the whole thing is belong to LTA. So I know SPS and others are just a vendor only. So there are places whereby it's just purely for
S-
advertisement and things like that. Yeah. This is how the three parties come together and work. The artist is had done a fantastic job, uh, because the artists actually
Mm.
worked with us back when we were in
Mm.
Kebun Baru. So they get used to working with people with dementia. And then sometimes, like me and my friend Anjang, there will be times whereby we have difficulty to express what we want, because both us uh, have been living with dementia for a few years already, and Anjang have been living for more than 10 years already. So we do have our decline. So it is what I would say is that it is very comforting
Mm.
to have artists who have worked with us before, and when we want to describe something and we got stuck, they sort of know
Mm.
what we are trying to say, so they will draw it out and use the color palette and say, "Oh, is this what you are trying to say?" and things like that.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. And like, I'm quite interested as well when you say you are trying to describe something for them to draw. Why do you have to do that in the first place?
When we select for a picture, we will need to know the history of the place. Okay. So like for example, whether it's in Chinatown or Toa Payoh or any place you name it, the
Mm.
history of the place is very important for us. So the artist actually do a very good background check on the history, and then during the when we walk around, and then we need to decide, which theme we want to use, and then the artist will provide us with a brief history of what this
Mm.
place is about, and then she will also show us some of the picture, to that is specific to that place. So then what we will do is, like, for example, I think it was Coven. Coven was very interesting for us because there's lots of history that neither me and Anjan know. Yeah, so then I talk about, oh, there was a well, there was a cinema, and things like that. Yeah, so then we said that, okay, there is a well, and things like that. So straight away we will say, okay, we would like to have something that associate with that thing. Yeah, so then they will show us the picture, all the possible picture that
Mm.
can relate to the well. Because for us, we don't want it. We don't want the picture that later on to be drawn and
Mm.
designed by the artist to be very complicated. It has to be as basic as possible, intuitive, whereby I can see, I straight away
Mm.
know what is it, and neither can it be too visually cluttered with too many colors, because that will be
Mm.
cognitively very put a lot of load on us. So then the artist can only have three colors. We every of the murals, if you go and look, it
Mm.
maximum is three colors only. You need to have a shape that is very intuitively for us to recognize, and it has to be within only three colors to bring it out to be distinctive enough. Because as you know, in the public spaces, as you mentioned in your podcast earlier, that there is already many things there already, right? There's advertisement and things like that. How do you make it
Mm.
in pop stand out, so
Yeah.
that we know this is the thing that we need to look for, among all the other notices. So so the artist only had three colors to make it stand out. And we are initially, I would say that we have a lot of struggle to transfer
Mm.
our experience at Kebun Baru and now make it into a wayfinding project in a public transport area. See,
Yeah.
when in Kabun Baru we use colors, right, for the blocks, but when coming to bus interchange, the first one we worked was Topayo bus interchange, and then we were saying that how are we going to use color? Like I remember one of you bringing up that, does it mean that you paint the whole thing all one color? Then if you paint red, the whole thing will be look so scary, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So then, even for us, we will be overwhelmed by the colors. Yeah. So then we said that, okay, how do we do it
Mm.
very subtly? Yes. So that is how then I remember that color segmentation is very
Mm.
widely used in all the international airport. You know, the signage, they have always have different color signage to tell you which sign. Now, if you are in this year, they want to make sure that you look at this signage, then this signage will be of this color. The signage color will roughly able
Mm.
to tell you the importance of the information. So then, based on that, we use the color to segment
Mm-hmm.
the bus where you go to take your bus. But yet in the
Yeah.
bus interchange there is so many bus. You
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
give one bus one color, right? That will be overwhelming. Yeah. So then we had to work with SBS Transit, who will roughly tell us, okay, around these are the bus going to that particular area. Then okay,
Mm-hmm.
since there is similarity, we just group them accordingly. Maybe few bus share one color, and then
Mm.
Mm.
another few more bus share one
A
color.
bit like zoning
Yeah.
lah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So then after that, then the
Ah, I
picture
see, I
will
see.
follow
But
that
because
color
like when
also.
you were saying previously for
Yeah.
Carbon Baru one is you can look at the place and then find the history behind the place, right? And then then you decide what sort of illustration or
Mm.
images, like for example, be a well. Then how about the one for the Toa Payoh? How did you guys came up with it?
Mm. The Toa Payoh one is because the
Mm.
majority of the older people there are Chinese, and then so then we actually we do
Mm.
have people who are living with dementia living in Toa Payoh. So we asked them, what are the childhood games that you play? Because when we started the project, that's the first
Mm.
thing me and Anjang, we all talk about our childhood games.
Yeah.
So we go around and ask our friends who are older people, you know, and then what are your childhood games? And then they give us these other childhood games. And then so we also ask the other our other friends who are non-Chinese, one like the Malays and Indians, and then we will sit down and then look
Mm.
because we have the artists only have three colors to work with, ma. So it is quite difficult for them also.
Mm.
So we have to take their perspective of how can they use the colors to bring it up. So like for example, we love Chongkat so much, you know. When we were at Galang
Ah,
Serai, no, Galang Baru, Galang station, and then we
yeah.
want to use the Chongkat. But then the Chongkat, is brown color. It's very hard to make it pop out. So that is why until now we yet to find
Yeah, yeah.
maybe one day when we do the blog we can use it. Yeah. So that is that there are a lot of consideration that
Mm.
we need to do. And like what you like one of you also mentioned that what about if this thing is always like the chapter is always coming in multiple colors certainly, but in at Toa Payoh we just have
Yeah.
it have one color because of the color joining is orange. Then we also
Mm.
worried what about if they cannot recognize the chapter? But then when we ask our friend,
Mm.
they said that yes,
Mm.
we recognize by the shape, not by the color. So you see, the colors is there for people like me, like that, who are still at a very mild stage. I
Mm.
don't get confusion between the colors, Johnny.
Mm.
You know. But for my friend
Mhm.
Anja, who is living with Lewy body dementia, they have hallucination and their fluctuation in their cognition
Mm.
in 24 hours is like this one. It changes the whole day. So then for him it's very
Mm.
hard just to use based on color. So then he needs
Mm.
reinforcement so the picture come in. Yeah. So that is why we
Mm.
have both the color
I
and
see.
the picture. For this whole project, our aim is to target people at very mild stage who are still
Mm. Okay.
independent, who can still come out by themselves. Those with are not more later stage, like moderate
Yeah.
stage, see, they will be coming out with their family members, see, or some kind of care partners. Yeah. So that is not our focus. Our focus is for people who are at the very early stage, like myself and Anjang and few of our friends, who are still able to
Mm.
travel by themselves, but they will need a little more support. Yeah. And sometimes when you go to the like for me, sometimes
Mm.
I go to the passenger office. The passenger customer office will tell you, Sunny, bus number what, or and then or you go to MRT, which station you take, and things like that. The problem is that we are not
Mm.
able to hold it long enough. The minute you tell me there is just too many things for us. We had to, what you call remove all the surrounding sound, which is a struggle for us because every sound comes into our ear, and then at the same time we had to understand your message and then
Mm.
had to remember the message. So that is why we are hoping that with this kind of picture, it will help the person, okay, to remember. And the other thing is that when we do this wayfinding, we actually, me and Anjang, we also have this struggle of how many of these picture we need
Mm.
to have so that the person can
Mm.
remember. So we test it around with ourselves. Like,
Oh, you test it with yourself.
yes, we test it by ourselves. That from the minute we
Yeah.
exit from the gantry, we will see it, right, because the thing is always before the gantry or after
Mm-hmm.
straight after the gantry, depending on how big is the space. Then once you see it, then how long will it
Ah.
take for us to not able to remember? So we do it by what we have
Mm.
a conversation and to get us our brain to be multitasking now, which is
Mm.
our weak point, you see. Yeah. So then and then we will walk and then we will find that, oh, actually what is the thing that we are
Ah.
trying to
Mm.
look for. So that is how we determine how many
Mhm.
picture need to be repeated in order to get the person the right
Yeah, I
spot,
think that's
the right
something that we
seat.
kind of we didn't talk about when we were looking at the designs as well. Like how many is considered necessary, right, in the route towards the
Yeah.
exit.
Was there any other people who were also doing the test? Did you guys get other people as well?
Not at the moment. When we were, because in Singapore, we're really lacking of people. Like, for example, I set up this special interest group. It is very hard to
Mm-hmm.
get people with mild
Mm.
dementia to be involved. You know, one thing is
Mm.
that it's cognitively very
Mm.
demanding job. You know, so every time you have to go down there and to recce the place,
Mm-hmm.
and then to have a conversation and things discussion, and the other thing is that our people here, the diagnosis is
Mm.
still happen at quite a late stage. We are diagnosed with mouse stage, but at
Mm.
the other end of the mouse stage. You see, mouse stage,
Mm.
you have the
Yeah.
very beginning, like me, it's very, very beginning of the mouse stage. But a lot of people are diagnosed with mild dementia, but at the later end, the other end of the mouse stage. That means
Oh,
that
I
very
see.
soon they'll be going to the moderate stage. So at this level, it's very hard for them to be involved,
I have a
as a
question about
consultant
the
in the
Oh.
dementia, right?
project.
Because you were saying that
Yeah.
you are in the early stage of the mild stage. Just curious, will it eventually progressively move you to
Mm.
the more severe stage over time, or will you improve? Or are there things what you can do that you can improve to get out of the severe stage and just stay at your mild stage?
No, actually, our neurons is
Mm.
in the process of dying. You know, so then what we can do is
Mm.
to keep on using our brain
Mm-hmm.
to keep on
Mm.
getting the neurons activated. So that hopefully new connection can
Yeah.
be made. It's just like if you come to a dead end, right? So you're hoping that you can create another path. Maybe use your
Like
parang
I
and
think
chop
I
some
think
more
you
grasses,
delay it
and so you
further,
have
like
a
is
new
that what you mean?
new
Like you
way to
delay
go
it from
out.
the thing.
Yeah, we're just
Mm.
trying to
Mm.
delay it. There is no way
Right.
for us to reverse it, and
Okay.
so dementia is progressive,
Ah.
and that is one thing for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I were to compare myself 2017 when I was diagnosed, and now there is a
Mm.
lot of things that I no longer able to do, or I struggle. Like I cannot go. I mean, I just I now I cannot even go to a kopitiam
Mm.
or restaurant place that is crowded with people. If I go to kopitiam, I have
Mhm.
to find a place that is away from everybody, and that is very difficult in the kopitiam in the food court, right? Because everywhere got people. So then I had
Mm.
to find a spot very right at the entrance, whereby it is not
Overwhelms
inside.
you.
Once it's deep inside, the
Oh,
noise just
okay.
close in, close in. Once it's near to the outside,
Yeah.
the noise is travel to the
Mm.
outside. It's not all inside.
Mm.
Yeah. Take for example, if I'm sitting in a car, I cannot have the music on because
Mm.
the sound will be inside the car only. Unless you wind down the window and then you blast your music, that is okay because the
Mm.
music is now the sound is
Mm.
all going out. It's not
Mm.
condensed inside a
How about
place.
taking like a
Yeah.
public, like on an MRT or in a bus? Like, is it that same kind of experience for you?
Yes,
Mm.
it's the same kind of experience. Luckily, we don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
music inside the public transport. Or else I no need to travel already. Yeah, the other thing is that when I travel by public transport, if I have a
Ah.
choice, I will always go for the off-peak hour. Like when I go to supermarket also, so I'll be standing in
Ah.
front before the supermarket door open up, before the shutter open up, so that I will be there the
Mm.
minute it open, before the crowd come in. But then if you go to the neighborhood supermarket, that is not fair price, like Sheng like that. The shutter can be up, but they can still be putting all the thing, trying to put the vegetable and things like that. That kind of place, then I won't go lah because with
Mm.
all those trolleys, with all those thing unloading, it's very hard for me to navigate because my
Mm.
perception uh, depth is not good. So I won't know that the
Mm.
thing is actually very near, and I'll bump into it. So then this kind of neighborhood one, so I will not. not stand there for the shutter to open. I will only come in maybe half an hour, 45 minutes later on. Only then I come in because I know that
Mm,
it's clear
mm.
that they had done
Mm.
whatever that
Like,
they need to do.
Actually, based on your experience, for someone who has like mild dementia, where else in Singapore do you think deserve initiative like Find Your Way initiative?
Oh, there is a lot. Like not
mm,
super what
Mm.
do you call shopping mall. You know that in Singapore shopping mall lack of a place called a quiet place
Ah,
just for you to sit, to be away, to
mm.
recharge, and then after that you
like a
also can come
lounger.
back again. Actually, yeah, like a lounge or
Mm,
maybe just an open area also can.
mm,
You know, an open area out in the nature, but it has some shed, and then you go there,
mm,
and recharge, and then you come in. So then we can still go to the mall. And now, like for example, if you go to Harbourfront, isn't it? The floor whereby you can go outside one,
mm,
Mm, mm.
something like that.
mm,
And now, or if you go to JED, there is next to the fun house,
mhm.
there is this
Yeah,
door,
playground.
the children playground
Yeah,
one. But I can only go if there is no children playing around.
yeah.
There is no point to go
I
there, right? Yeah. So this kind of places,
Mm,
it doesn't mean that it has to be a dedicated room, but they'll have to have a place like this whereby people with dementia and also people with
Mm,
autism like that who just get overwhelmed by all these senses. Then we can go outside, give ourselves
mm.
recharge, and
That's
then
very
come back
interesting.
again
I'm just
and
curious, how
enjoy
about
the
like
environment.
places, quiet
Yeah.
places like libraries?
Yeah, library is another thing. Uh, it depends on which
Mm-hmm.
part of the estate of library you go. Some library, even though they say shh, no, no, no talking, you can see all the aunties who sit down and they will be talking away also. So normally at library, I will go to
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, the
whereby
quiet
it's a
reading section, I
designated
think.
place for the quiet
Ah.
reading. That one guarantee nobody is going to talk. And yeah, so that is one thing. And another thing is that I think for most of the people living with
Mm-hmm.
dementia, our eyesight will be affected also. So I no longer quite able to read, hardcover, the books. I need
Oh,
to
can
use
zoom
soft
in.
copy because I can do this wonderful.
Ah.
Yes, yes, yeah. So that is also one thing that made me seldom go to the library because I found that the library don't have the thing that
Mm,
can accommodate
I see.
to my
Okay,
needs.
okay.
And then the other one is cinema. There is a cinema had to be if it will be good lah. And I know it's a money making place that they might not want to
mm,
listen to me. But I can tell you that from since my diagnosis until
Mm.
now, I have been to
Oh, okay.
cinema maybe 2 to 3
and why is
times
that so?
because it's
Mm.
one thing is too dark. I cannot see. I'm overwhelmed. Because there is no transition period. You
Yeah.
notice when you go to
Yeah,
cinema
yeah, yeah,
from
yeah.
outside straight you go
Mm.
in dark. And then
Oh.
another thing is the sound is too surround for us. I mean, I love surround sound, but now I live with dementia. I no longer love surround sound.
I
It's too
see.
much. Yeah. So then, so it would be nice if there is some kind of what you call cinema that have one cinema section whereby it accommodate to people with this kind of sensory overload, not
Mm,
necessarily with dementia. It can be for autism also. Anyone who has sensory overload, that they can go
mm,
attend the show,
yeah.
can still enjoy cinema feeling, but then it's
Mm.
designed
Ah,
differently
I
for
see, I
people
see.
with
Mm,
sensory
yeah,
overload.
because for the Find Your Way initiative, it's all about wayfinding, right? But from the conversation with you, it
Mm,
really feels like it's a lot more than that. In the aspects of daily living, it's not just
yes.
wayfinding. Is how like the
The
crowdedness, the
noise.
crowd of the place, your sensory intake
Mm,
of the place needs to be regulated as well. So like maybe bringing back to the public
mm,
transport, because we have kind of solved that wayfinding part.
mm.
Like, what's the next thing that you think would help people with mild dementia in the experience of public transports?
Oh, Well, okay. Now, when coming to using public transport, to be able to know the bus number at where, because not necessarily
Mm.
you will take bus only at the bus
Yeah.
interchange, right? You will take bus from
Mm.
your house at the bus stop.
Ah.
Who is going to support us with that?
Mm. Mm.
You know, and I'm very happy that the LTA is now
Mm,
working
mm.
on
Yeah.
giving this digital one, isn't it? That's very clear. Not the older one, the new version one. They give it very clear instruction when the bus is going to arrive, the bus number, and things like that. Yeah, that would be very helpful. But unfortunately, in my place where I stay, because I think my estate is too small, yeah, I will never have
Mm.
that benefit. Yeah, so that is one thing. And because of our vision, our sight, we cannot see
The
Mm,
the bus number when it's arriving. By the time it arrives, it's too near for us to take action,
mm,
because we take a time to process. So when we see the by the time we see the number, isn't it? It's very near already. Then it's oh, this is number. Yeah, oh, this is the number that I'm
yeah.
waiting for. Then it will take a while for us to process, and then our body will take a while to coordinate. Okay, go to your bus. By then we decided that that is our bus. The bus
Oh man.
pound go away already. Yeah, so that is one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we need support at the bus stop. The wayfinding is good
Mm,
as bus interchange. Bus stop,
mm.
how? And the other thing, once we go up to the bus, now the LTA had come out with a card that said that I can ask for the
mm,
tell the bus captain
Yeah.
that where I want to stop. So I need to wait the card. But the problem is that it need to have another thing whereby the care
mm,
partner or the family members can write for us there. You know, I can say that I want to go to Chinatown. Okay, I want to go to Chinatown. Then I step out to the bus. But it
mhm,
doesn't guarantee that at the point when I go up to the bus, I will
mm,
remember the name of the place. You see, words sometimes is very hard for me for us to
Mm.
come up. So if that card that the LTA come up with at the other, if you flip over, if they can have
This.
a space,
mhm,
for you to use your whatever marker lah to write lah,
mm.
this person want to come down
Mm.
at Chinatown. Then I just show the card, and then the bus conductor can look
I
Ah,
for
see.
I see, I
Chinatown.
see.
Okay, I
Yeah.
will alert you. You know, yeah. So
Mm.
that will be helpful going.
So it's like solving half the problem only.
So yes, yes, correct. So then we having the card means that the bus conductor had to be able to
Yeah,
alert the person with mild dementia that this is the stop
yeah,
coming up. Please get ready to unlock, isn't it? But if there is no seat, what am I supposed to do? I have to walk or go all the way to the
yeah.
back. How is the bus conductor going to
Oh.
alert me
Especially
now?
if there's a lot of people in the bus, right? Then
You know?
very hard to indicate to you.
Yes, yes. So they'll need to have a dedicated seat lah. That no, the person who are using this card, the priority seat should be given to these
Mm,
people so that the bus conductor
Mm.
can alert the person. So
yeah.
normal time, if nobody using, yeah, feel free to use the seat. But once if that person come up with that card, whoever who's sitting can give up the seat for that person down.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
like now that we have kind of spotted or identified a lot of places in Singapore that needs a lot more beefing up for the people living with dementia. Like, is there a favorite place of yours as well? Like, you think that wow, this place I feel very confident to go, or like I feel that it really caters to me as someone who has mild dementia.
Oh, I wish
Oh
there is a place like that.
no.
Uh,
No,
Okay.
there is still no. Uh, Even though we have lots of, recently just have another marine parrot also being what you call given this type of
mhm,
dementia friendly community neighborhood recently. So we have lots of dementia friendly community. None of the dementia friendly community are found that I can
Oh, I
navigate on
see.
my own
Even though
without
they have the
including
good
those.
intention to make it dementia friendly, but it's still just
Yeah,
not there yet.
I think generally
Okay.
in Singapore, it's still much to be learned of what is
Mm-hmm.
called being dementia inclusive. Dementia being dementia inclusive doesn't just mean that the people who
Mm,
are staying there or working there doing the business there
mm,
are helpful to people with dementia. Being inclusive means that I, as a person with dementia, must be able
Mm,
and feel
mm.
confident to use the space. That is the understanding that
I
our
see, I
dementia
see.
friendly community still don't have. They just feel that I'm here to support you. But I don't
Yeah,
want to be
yeah, yeah.
supported. I want to have my independent that I
Ah,
can
okay, okay,
confidently
okay.
navigate the
That's a
place.
very very good point because
Ah,
yeah, for me as a person I also would think, oh, it's dementia friendly so it should be okay. But yeah, hearing from you, at least we know more accurately what does it mean to be dementia friendly, the more accurate definition of it lah basically.
yes. Yes. Well, it is good to
Mm,
have all those, go-to point and things like that. When you find someone with dementia who is lost or things like that, go to the go-to point so that the family members can pick up the person. That is good, but it is still that is still not the correct definition of dementia
mm,
friendly or dementia. For us, I feel dementia inclusive lah community. It should be the one that we feel comfortable. We feel
mm, mm.
confident that I can do this on my own. I'm not some poor lost soul ready to be there to
Yeah.
get lost
Mm.
and waiting for you to help
Mm,
me. That is something that I don't want to do. If I feel that I need to go out and to be
yeah.
supported by people, I think most of the time I won't want to
Mm.
go out already.
Yeah.
Because you see, as a person, we all
Yes.
have the dignity. We all want to be independent, and so dementia friendly or should not
Okay.
be about other people supporting us. Support is good, is good to have, but the most important thing is how do you make the place safe enough and then accessible enough and make the person with dementia feel that
Mm,
he or she can navigate, can use the space just
mm,
like anybody else. And actually, before even I have a dementia, I can still going back to the same place, use the place. And if I have
mm,
difficulty, yes, that is where the support can come in.
mm,
But
mm,
that is the
mm,
second part. The first part is
Mm.
missing
mm,
about empowering
Mm,
the
yeah. It
people.
feels like the first part is more like empowerment, instilling confidence for
Yes,
independent,
yeah.
actions.
Ah. Since you were
Yeah.
saying Singapore doesn't really have a really good accurate example which supports, right? In your work, I mean overseas, internationally, has there been other good examples outside that actually they really do dementia friendly places?
I think all over the world,
Mm.
everyone is trying to do their best. And because you see, it started with this concept of dementia friendly,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually not a good concept because dementia friendly is putting the person with dementia
Mm.
at the passive
Mm-hmm.
poor soul who need to be supported. So that is the
Yeah.
concept because Singapore get the concept from global. So
Mm.
so then we are now start with this concept. And now for the global in the Western front and even in Japan, they are trying to change that. And they found that
Mm.
that is not what the people with dementia want. As the diagnosis improve,
Yeah.
no, accuracy on the diagnosis
Yeah.
improve. People are diagnosed at a very early stage, like me, like that, a very high functioning, and we want our independent. We want to be feel that we don't need you to support.
Mm.
I will ask you when I need support, but it should not be saying that people
Mm.
living with dementia so pathetic need to be supported
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah. So then in Japan is
Oh.
that they are revising
Okay.
the whole concept of dementia inclusive and change it to empowering the people with dementia. So the people with dementia now get to decide
Ah.
what is dementia inclusive is like. So my friend Vicky San in Kochi prefecture started daycare center, a dementia daycare center. She's living with young onset Alzheimer, and she is heading and she is
Mm.
operating a daycare center for people living with dementia. And and the people who go to the center does not every
Mm.
day just sit there and wait to be cared by her or other people who work there.
Mm.
She work together with the local businesses. If you have any job that is
Mm.
simple enough for the people with dementia to do, now simple in the sense that the word will not require
Mhm.
or will have some kind of auto
Yeah.
correction, like for example,
Yeah.
packaging or even administrative work that. If there is any mistake, straight
Okay,
away I
okay.
can see I make a mistake. That is okay. So she worked with the local businesses, and the local
Mm.
businesses will have this work for all the residents there. So every day they will come to the center to have their social gathering and meals and things like that.
Mm.
And when time comes, they will all go out to work, and
Mm.
they are given a salary to work. So it's really the whole
Ah, okay,
paradigms
okay.
of
And
how
empowering them
dementia
to
care is
actually
done.
feel that they are benefiting the economy and doing work for themselves. Yeah.
Yes, and not sit there lah. No, 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 just sit there and do coloring only lah.
Yeah, it feels a bit like reframing how we see people with
Mm.
dementia, right? Like
Yes.
it's not a liability, but it's more focusing more of
Mm,
enabling.
focusing on that, for example, the person still, even though there are things
Mm-hmm.
that the person have difficulty or no longer able to do, there are always areas whereby
Mm.
the person can still
Mm,
do.
mm,
Yeah. So then you don't see the person with dementia. As long as the person with dementia, you say, "Oh, this poor fellow need to be cared already." So shifting that kind of mindset
mm,
is very important. And unfortunately, in Singapore, we still stuck with that first version of the
Mm.
traditional way of seeing people with dementia. So we have a lot of dementia-friendly communities, but all of them felt that
Mm.
people with dementia need to be supported and cared
would you say
by
like the
myself.
find your way initiative is like a hopeful pivot point?
Yes, yes, that is why Anjang and me we put our heart and soul, even though sometimes we are so tired,
Mm.
and to
Mm,
work on the project, and but then we
Mm.
believe it. We felt that this should be the way, that we want people with mild dementia to continue to come out. That you know that there are things put out there
mm,
to help you to
yeah.
minimize your error. And if you make error, it's okay because the society is saying that they are becoming dementia friendly.
Yeah.
So dementia friendly is secondary. The primary is that I feel
Mm.
that, oh yeah, things are put in place for me to
Ah.
I
use.
can really feel your
Yeah.
passion
Yes, yes,
when you're talking about not just this in your involvement in this initiative, but just like bring awareness to other people about
Mm.
dementia. But like if we could wrap the our conversation around this initiative, like what's your favorite sticker?
my favorite sticker ang kuko eh. Okay, kebun baru ang kuko eh, and then the huat kue at topa. Why these two? Okay, ang kuko has always been my childhood favorite lah. And then at the Amokyo one, the bus interchange, why I want the huat kue, because huat kue is the berth where I take my bus 166 to
Ah,
come home.
so like very familiarized and got feelings with it already.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
another is the advantage when we work as a consultant. You
Yeah.
see, we can decide which one I want.
Have you heard anything from your
Yes,
peers
yes.
as well?
So for other people who are living in the other one like Tampines or other Clementi area, they felt that yeah, if
Mm.
this thing go to their place, would be very helpful for them. SPS also share with us that even the people with disability, autism, and from the Taiwan one, feedback to
Mm.
them that this is
Oh,
very
okay.
helpful
Oh,
for their student who have
Ah.
special needs in navigation.
so it not
Yeah,
only impacts people with dementia, but it's ripples out lah, the impact, which is a very nice feeling, I suppose.
yeah. Yeah, because when I was involved in this find your way from the very beginning, I already want to make sure that it benefit not just for people with dementia, but also for older person and also for people with disability. Because I
Mm.
was working in the
I
disability
see. I
education
see.
before my
Okay.
diagnosis. Yeah,
So for this initiative, like, is it coming to an end already, or are you all still,
Oh,
continuing to
that's a start.
expand?
this
Ah,
is just a starting. Just like what you say in your podcast that there need to be a system in check. So now we are more like trying to find
Mm.
out how we can improve from there. But because like what I share with you, that the stations and the bus interchange
Mm.
is too few for us to do any sample.
Mm.
I mean, if even we ask from our close friend, or already not everyone will be able to use it because it's still not
Mm.
take up to their place. So then, so what we are able to get is just from friends who are using it, or their
Mm.
parents who are older people but not living with dementia, who are finding
Mm.
it useful. Like for my mom, find it very useful because I just tell her what is a picture you look for, and
Mm.
I will meet you there, and
Hmm.
then she will know how to do it. Yeah, our aim is to
Mm.
to cover as many as possible lah. But that is also depending on how Anjang and me will continue to live for the next
Mm.
few years lah. Unless we can have somebody to well, to replace us, because like what I say,
Mm.
if one of us are living with the condition and we are declining, and so it
Mm.
is really taking a toll as this project, because requires a lot of insight from us. And like for
Yeah.
example, it just matter of deciding where to put the thing. And now sometimes we find that, oh no, this is the right place, right angle. When we come out, we can see,
Mm.
you know. But then that is
Mm.
cannot be a place because that is
Ah,
for
the
Yeah, the
amusement.
constraints.
constraint.
Then when we go for a second base, yeah, second base, and then the second base not necessarily will be able to fulfill our. Then we have to think of
Mm.
what
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
other
yeah.
alternative. To do
Mm.
that, it really demands a lot on our brain. Uh, so by the end of the, I tell you, by the end of the session, me and Anjang were totally flat out, and you don't talk to her for the next 2 days.
Exhausted all your
Yeah, all your brain
energy.
cells.
Yeah, yes, yes, yeah, correct. Because currently it's just me and Anjang, and I always
Yeah.
ask this question: how sustainable will it be? The other public transport provider also said, yes, we all
Mm.
equally want to do just like what SBS is doing.
Mm.
Now, who are they
Mm.
going to engage? Definitely, me and Anjang, we
Mm.
won't be able to engage
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
them, even
There's a
if they want
limitation
to.
there, basically.
Yes. Then there is also the other one is the
Mm.
knowledge of it, of what is wayfinding, and,
Mm.
and what are the elements that you need to consider. The angles of how, if you notice that it's not every time it's like just like this 90-degree or 45-degree, isn't it? There
Mm.
is always a certain angles that the arrow point,
Mm.
and the length of the arrow is also something that take into consideration. If the exit point, or is the berth is very far from where you are, then
Mm.
the directional arrow on the floor is longer. Yeah. So initially, when we start it last time at what you call Topayo, we made a lot of mistake
Mm.
because it was our first project, and yeah, so we are not sure. And then after that, Anjang and me, each one of us go down there, and we try to use it as what the arrow direct us. And then we find that it cannot. This one go tell us the wrong direction.
Ah, I see, I
So the
see, I
whole thing
see.
had to redo.
Mm.
It's not one time
Mm.
it will get it correct.
Because you are saying you not one time you will get it right, right? So in that process of testing, is it actual stickers being pasted, or like is it just papers?
I know that you see, our artists are very smart. She used technology to enable us. There's this mini
Oh, okay,
projector.
okay.
She just project it
Wow.
Ah,
onto the floor.
don't even need to paste.
Yes, no need. Very costly
Ah, that's very
also.
smart. Okay. And then just
So
like
yeah,
based on your feedback, they can readjust the placement of
yes,
the
to
stickers.
readjust.
Sticker.
Yeah, and then even the angles are just a 5 degree or ten
Wow.
degree
It's like
difference.
airplane,
Will get us to the
Oh
wrong direction
wow.
already. Yeah.
Now that you bring us through this process of making sure it's right, it does feels like it takes a lot of toll on you and your working partner as well. Are there any efforts to try to find people who can come and help out in this?
I have been trying to recruit for the last one
Wow.
and a half years. Yeah, because you see, only us will be able to tell
Mm.
whether is this the right way to do or not? So as I share
Yeah.
with you, people are diagnosed a
Mm.
bit too late,
Mm.
and so it is very hard. I mean, I couldn't blame that. Once I share with them what we are doing, they will say that,
Oh.
Emily, count me out. I cannot. I even cannot hold what you are
Mm.
saying long enough. How am I going to be there
I
and not to
see. I
engage in
see.
a discussion?
Mm.
Yeah, no, yeah, just be very frank. That is a very sad part. Not as compared to my peers, my friends, all from overseas, Canada and things like that. They can really engage. They
Wow.
can even have ministerial talk. Yeah, they can talk to their in the now in the parliament, and not they're
Mm.
invited and have a policy talk
Mm.
and things like that. Our here want to talk like this, just a basic one already struggling. So you can see the huge difference
Mm.
when the person is diagnosed at the very early stage, at the when the person is
Mm.
diagnosed with
Okay.
mild stage,
Okay. I
but at the
see.
later end.
So just wondering if there's anything you want to tell the listeners who may be like us, not very quite foreign with the topic of
Like
dementia.
personal
What would it
message
be?
or takeaways.
First thing is to the family members, do encourage and have the confidence that your loved
Mm.
one living with dementia can still do a lot of things. Encourage them to come up, use the public transport system, because the system are there to help them to come out, to
Mm.
prevent them from having this social isolation problem. And for the society is that don't being dementia friendly is good. There is second part. The first part is about empowering us, provide us the tools and the means to maintain our
Mm.
independence, and then
Mm.
support come later.
For me, it's more of going for this interview. I didn't put much expectations. I thought it would just be answering some questions, but to hear from you personally, like all the different things that actually we misunderstood or we don't have enough understanding on. But thank you to bring it up to us lah. I mean, now it sparks a interest in me to actually investigate more about dementia and also find out more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I don't really have a family member with dementia, but
Yeah.
I did have my parent-in-law, their grandparents had dementia, but she passed on already. Yeah, so my own
Mm-hmm.
mother-in-law is a bit
Mm-hmm.
fearful if she gets this dementia. So we just like there was one time she forget a few things, like maybe she can forget whether did she turn off the stove, the cooking stove, and there was one time when she went out of the house, she forgot to wear this. Yeah, so it's like it was very
Mm.
random, it was very rare, but
Yeah.
maybe these are some
Okay.
signs. But I can just take note and then yeah, just be more aware.
Just pay more
Mm,
attention, especially when it's elderly people. And once they stop working, we tend to overlook when they say that, oh yeah, I'm struggling this. They say, then we'll brush it aside and say, old people
mm.
already, like, what do you expect? You're still
Mm.
young. Now that is the problems that we tend to brush it off. Like for me, my dementia diagnosis started
Mm,
with just because I
mm.
totally don't know how to make French toast. And if it's not for my daughter, who is a first year medical student who just studied
Ah,
dementia,
yeah.
we would have brushed it aside because it's just one episode. It was
Mm.
my first episode. Yeah. But because she studied, she said, Mom, my professor just said that, if someone in your family who have been cooking that dish for donkey years and suddenly don't know how to
Wow,
make,
okay.
it's not for you to take it lightly. So it's not necessary that
Mm.
it has to be memory, or
Ah,
things like that. It could
okay.
be anything. So just
Yeah.
keep on lookout.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's very amazing from your story as well, how you manage or you and your daughter managed to catch you having dementia, and it all
Mm,
led to,
Being so
you
active. Yeah.
coming out with all this initial, yeah, being such a strong advocate for dementia, and like eventually, helping a lot more Singapore
Mm.
commuters in the public transports. Yeah, it's just this butterfly effect really like fascinates
Mm.
me. Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that is why one thing is so important is why I'm doing all this advocacy work is that I want the family members, I want the person who is experiencing any kind of cognitive decline,
Mm.
to get help as soon as possible. Because the earlier you get the help, to get the diagnosis,
Mm.
then you understand what is happening to your brain. And then you will start to
Yeah.
take make changes to the way you live. And because if you don't get a diagnosis, not even say that a diagnosis of which underlying disease, is it Alzheimer or
Mm.
vascular dementia or things like that,
Yeah.
but just to know that you have dementia. No, it's not because of whether you are having emotional swing, got depression. That is already
Mm.
a big step, a big winning step already. That you know you have tried your best. It's just that your brain now has some issue, and it doesn't mean that it is completely gone case.
Mm.
There are things that you can put in place to help yourself,
Mm.
so that you can
Mm.
slow
Okay.
down the progression.
Yeah, and I mean, I thank you again for accepting to do this with us and give us a lot more insights. I feel like when we edit this episode, like definitely we will be smiling because it's really a lot of rich content that we can bring to our listeners
Yeah,
as well, lah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm more than happy. And now, if any time that you people need, any kind of thing to
Mm.
design, yeah,
Mm.
just
Yeah,
let
yeah,
me
sure,
know.
sure.
Yeah, I'm more than
Okay.
Yep.
happy to chip in.
Yeah.
Sure, we will. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
Emily.
Emily. Thank
Okay.
you. And
Okay.
good luck for
Yeah.
your
Bye bye.
release.
Take
Good luck
care.
for your book
Take
Congrats
care,
on
release.
Adeline.
release. Okay. Bye
Oh,
bye.
thank you. Thank you.
Let
Bye
me
bye.